Well, if you're a renter and you're worried about paying rent, man, you are not alone. Look, here, 1 out of 5 of the 110 million Americans who live in rental households. So, in other words, there's 100 people, 100 million people, who pay rent. Now, 1 out of 5 of those risk eviction by the end of September. So they're hurting. They're not being able to pay their rent. And September seems to be the deadline for most of the new laws that are in there. And this is a study by a real big think tank called Aspen Institute. 20 million renters are at risk of eviction. And that's why I think, a lot of states and federal and everybody's trying to work on changing that because, it's downhill kind of thing. Your landlord has to not be evicted, so he needs money from you and all that kind of stuff. So that's important. And there's a big article, I think it was yesterday in the New York Times that talks about the 10 steps to take to prevent your eviction. And they're very helpful, and we'll go over them in a minute. But I want to give you sources in case you just want to get, God, what the hell do I do? Here's what you do. But there's 10 steps are important too. But here are the sources. Low Income Housing Coalition has like the laws that are on every state. So you could go here, the Low Income National Low Income Housing Coalition, state and local assistance. So the programs and the laws and everything that are there, and they're available to you there. Now here, the eviction and foreclosure moratorium. See, every local jurisdiction has a moratorium on when you can or cannot be evicted. See, they don't want people to be out in the streets because of the virus, but that's going to be over. And these are temporary. So everything is temporary now because of COVID. That's good because it makes it easier to search, tell you the truth. And we'll come into that later. Okay, here's some other sources. Here, Just Shelter. Okay, now justshelter.org, they have a resource directory of all the legal help that's available in that state. So you could go to justshelter.org and get free legal help. See, that's what I mean. Not only money programs and the program up here I told you about earlier. See, state and local assistance here at the National Income Housing Association or Coalition, and that's the starting place. I'm going to tell you a lot more other places because that's just the tip of the iceberg. And then you want to go to here, Just Shelter for legal help. And these are nonprofit organizations because if you go and Google anything like that, you're going to get somebody's going to sell you money, somebody's going to charge you $200 an hour for legal help or whatever. No, you can't afford your rent. How the hell are you going to afford a lawyer? That's crazy. Okay, the other thing to do is looking for rent assistance. Now, there's 2 ways to use Google. Actually, here's how to use Google to look for that. Otherwise, see, if you use Google now and put in, say, COVID rent grants, and they're the words to use. You want the word COVID because they're the new programs that come up, okay? And so COVID rent grants, and then put your state. And see, there are 1.5 million websites. But now the trick here is to go over to settings, come down here to advanced search, and then change here. See it how it says any time? That's why you have 1.5 million. You change the any time to maybe last month. Or you want to put